Yeah. Hey, we're gonna start in just a few minutes, and if you want to pop your microphone on, I'd love to hear how you're doing, how your day is going, what's new, all that good, happy stuff. Or you can just chill and eat your dinner, whatever you're doing.
I'm cooking, but I wanted to say I love your hair.
Thank you. I took a shower and I dried it. Which does not, those two things are like doing laundry and folding it.
Agreed. I'm going to be cooking too, so I'm going to listen while I prep.
Yeah, multitask. How's the puppy?
It's a good thing he's cute.
It is a good thing. There's a reason babies and puppies are cute.
Yep. But we'll see if he lets me participate.
Yes, hopefully. All right, so I am, let's see, going to make this full screen. And I'm going to go ahead and jump in because I don't want to take up your whole night. I would love to just sit and chat with the two of you all night, but let me share my screen and find the right. This is always a question of, can I find the right screen? This one. Okay. All right, so you guys should see Be the 9%. Is that what y'all see? You can give me a thumbs up. Awesome. All right, so I need to also make sure I see. I think I'll get a notification if somebody pops into the waiting room. So this presentation is called Be the 9%. And if y'all want to use the chat box, let me open the chat box up. Yeah, there we go. So you guys can pop into the chat. You're welcome to turn your cameras off or leave them on, whatever works for you. So I call this Be the 9%, 5 tips on keeping your promises to yourself and 4 reasons why it matters. When I started making this presentation in January, I wanted to make something obviously that went around New Year's resolutions, and I got about halfway through it, and then I really started like digging in and thinking a little bit, why am I doing this? I wonder, like, do people really care right now? And especially given the last several years, do people really care about resolutions? Because it's been a rough couple of years. You know, a lot of us have had to pivot big time or start over or change careers or rework how we do our careers. So I wanted to add on not just 5 tips for keeping your promises, but also why does it even matter in the first place? So we will learn in just a moment what the 9% stands for. I know Jolyn knows because we talked about it in her podcast, or not podcast, I call it a podcast, Instagram. All right, so you are in the right place if you have made a goal for 2023, and like every year, it feels unattainable. You would like to make healthy choices this year, but you're not quite sure where to start. Or maybe you're already in a good routine and you want to push the limits of what's possible. So maybe you already have like a strong fitness routine and you just want to push it a little further, maybe dream big. You're also in the right place if you just wanted to say hi, and I'm glad you're here. Thank you for being here. So in the next 30 minutes, I'll show you my 5 super simple tricks to make your success inevitable, and I'll help you avoid the mistakes that 91% of people make. And I'll uncover what doesn't work and what to do instead. And probably this is not going to last quite 30 minutes. But my name is Whitney Pressler. I'm really glad to be here tonight. I'm a certified personal trainer, a nutrition coach, a wellness consultant with over 20 years of experience. So I have taught every kind of fitness that there is. I have a background in dance. I played soccer when I was younger, but I have taught CrossFit, I have taught bar, I've taught cycle, I have taught yoga, Pilates, every opportunity that has come my way, or certification that has popped up. I'm like, ooh, yeah, I want to learn about that. So I love fitness in all shapes and forms. I have trained people who are morbidly obese. I have trained people who are really like weak and want to gain muscle. I have trained preteens, and I've trained folks all the way up into their 90s. So really and truly, every shape and size is my jam. I think when people imagine a personal trainer, what they do, they think like lift heavy weights and do burpees. And that's not been true for me, at least. I think that's not true for a lot of people. Most personal trainers work with people who really, really need support and help, and I love giving that. So my first career was actually fine art, and I am an artist. I still practice very minimally. Someday I will get back into painting many more paintings. And I'm a single parent to a special needs kid, and I'm a licensed foster parent. Currently, I do not have a placement. We are doing what's called respite care now, which is just taking kids over the weekend for families who need a little break. So we help support other foster families right now. I love home renovation. So give me an extension cord and a power tool, and I can do about anything. I love obviously lifting weight, and I also am an animal lover. So we have 2 dogs, 6 chickens currently. We have 1 ball python, and I think we're up to 6 lizards now. My son brings them in from outside, so we have a little habitat for all those friends. All right, so I'm going to share some statistics about New Year's resolutions. And this has to do with overall success and failure rates. So according to a 2016 study of the 41% of Americans who make New Year's resolutions, by the end of the year, only 9% feel they're successful in keeping them. So that's where the 9% comes in. We want to be that 9%. If you're going to set a goal, we want to make sure that you're able to follow through. Most people are optimistic, with 86% expecting 2023 to be the same or better than 2022. And the younger people are, the more optimistic they are about the future. So I take a lot of hope in that. I think that is fantastic. And I also take from that if I want to feel youthful, that I should work on my optimism and be hopeful for the future. So that is my fountain of youth. So the probability of completing a goal. So we're going to take it like from the bottom up. So starting with the moment that you have an idea or a goal. So the moment that pops into your head, I think I want to run a 10K. The probability of you completing that goal at that moment is 10%. When you consciously decide you will do it, so when you make that commitment, I'm going to run that 10K, it goes up to 25%. So 1 in 4 chance, pretty good. As we narrow it down, we're going to learn how to bump that up. So when you decide when you will do it, it goes to 40%. So when we sign, or when we find a date, like I'm going to run a 10K in March, we're getting even better. When you plan how you will do it, so you start planning your training programs, goes up to 50%. And then when you commit to someone, you will do it, 65%. So when you find a running buddy and you commit to each other that you're going to run that 10K, it goes up to 65%. Now, here's what I found really interesting is there's a great big jump between 65 and then that 95% success rate. So if you want to ensure your success, 95% happens when you have specific accountability appointment with a person you're committed to. So that person, that running buddy, if you meet with that person once a week, every Wednesday, and run together, then your success rate goes up to 95%. So it's pretty powerful. So now let's talk about what happened with the 91% of people. In one 2014 study, 35% of participants who failed their New Year's resolutions said they had unrealistic goals. So they set that bar a little too high. So maybe instead of running a 10K, they said, I'm going to run a marathon this year. Or, maybe 10K might be even too much. Maybe we need to shoot for a 5K first. So 33% of participants who failed didn't keep track of their progress. 23% forgot about their resolutions entirely, which sounds funny. Like, that's almost a quarter of people just forgot about what their resolution was. But when I work with clients in my training programs, we always set a goal week one. We always like make that happen. And then when we revisit that in 6 weeks, you would be so surprised at how many people can't tell me what that goal was that they set in the first week. So that happens. And then about 1 in 10 people who failed say they made too many resolutions. So maybe they got a little bit like those unrealistic goals, but maybe they had a lot of little small goals that they wanted to work on and they just overshot. Does any of this sound familiar? No matter what you do or how good your intentions are, you never seem to be able to maintain your effort. Maybe you are confused by what's working and what isn't in the world of health and fitness today. We get barraged by so many different ads and marketing and ideas and thoughts. And should I wear the waist cincher, or should I do this diet, or should I train fasted, or should I do this soup thing? Or there's a lot of different information out there. So it's very easy to get confused. Or maybe you feel ashamed because you haven't been able to make programs work for you in the past. Have you ever thought that maybe if you just hired a personal chef, and Jillian's over there cooking dinner, maybe she wants a personal chef now. I wouldn't mind that. Maybe you just need to work out more. Or what if you could stick to that keto diet? Perhaps you just need more discipline. Or maybe my favorite one, let's start tomorrow.
I think it makes perfect sense, Whitney, because I did your 16-week coaching in the fall, and I had a very concrete goal. And now I'm still maintaining, and I don't know where I'd be without my weekly, even though I haven't been able to participate this month, but without my weekly accountability. Like, even if I don't participate, I know, like, I have to hold myself accountable. But I was thinking right now, like, I haven't set, after the maintenance, I haven't set another specific goal, like in normal. And so I've been struggling a lot because, life has been crazy the last couple of weeks. Just yesterday, my son started feeling a little better since his surgery, January 4th. But I just find myself not in the cut that I want. Like, still, life's still a little bit crazy, and I'm eating out more and everything, but I'm still, like, I went to Moe's with my mom today. My mom had to fly up last week as an emergency, but I went to Moe's, and we're like, we can have a burrito, we can have this, and it was like, no, what can nourish our body. So we had a salad. We still had some of the chips, but we had a salad, and salsa instead of dressing, and like a lot of the tools. But it makes a lot of sense because I feel I haven't written down a very concrete goal for this next month or something.
Yes. So you've had a lot going on in your personal life. So I think what we need to do is go back and revisit that SMART goal and set a SMART goal for you again.
Yes. Yeah, no,
So,
definitely.
Yeah. So tomorrow in our coaching call.
Yeah. And I feel it in every area of my life. Like, my husband, we still have Christmas up. My husband was saying today, it's like a tornado hit. And I know we haven't had a lot going on, but I just emphasize the importance of goal setting, like you say.
Yes, it's so important. So important. And I'm going to share a little bit more about how to set those goals. So this is good timing. So this is a list of the top 10 New Year's resolutions, and about half of these relate to health, fitness, or wellness. So these are the top 10: exercise more, lose weight, get organized, learn a new skill or hobby, live life to the fullest, which is, I think, just so general and broad. Save more money, spend less money, quit smoking, spend more time with family and friends, travel more, and read more. So you can imagine if someone like in that last slide, if someone set a resolution in all 10 of these areas, how overwhelming would that be? And you wouldn't really be able to focus. Oops, I hit the right button. Good. So I'm about to share with you those 5 tips, but I want to circle back. So this is where in my planning for this workshop, I wanted to revisit why we make resolutions in the first place, because with all of that pressure and all of that, not doom and gloom, but you know, the high probability that you're not going to be able to follow through with those goals or resolutions. Why do they even matter? So I'm going to read these 4 phrases. They're not 4 words because number 2 has 3 words. And then I'm going to explain them at the end because I want to leave you on this note. Resolutions matter. 1, intention. 2, hope and engagement. 3, responsibility. And 4, inspiration. You can just tuck those back away in the back of your head. You may have like an initial gut reaction. I would love to hear your thoughts after I go through these 5 steps. But let's dig in to our 5 tips for success. So these 5 tips will get you in that 95%. And we kind of went from like the 10% up to the 95%. So your 5 tips: be specific, make attainable goals, get support, track your progress, and be patient with yourself. All right, so let's dig in. Tip number 1, be specific. Vague resolutions, such as that live life to the fullest one, such as get fit or exercise regularly, are less likely to be followed than specific resolutions, such as go on a 45-minute walk around the lake with Jane on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday mornings. That's a very specific goal. I'm going to teach you how to do that. So when we set a specific goal, we want to answer the questions: what, when, how long, and what are the action steps. So your what is the specific activity and the details of that activity. So instead of saying, I would like to get heart healthy, or I would like to do more cardio, we define what that looks like. Are you walking? Are you jogging? Are you running? Are you going to do hills? Are you where are you going to walk? All of the details that you can think of. So write those down. The second is when. What time of day, what days of the week, and what the frequency is. I'm probably going to flip-flop these. So are you going to walk three days of the week? And then further define that if you're walking 3 days of the week, which 3 days of the week are you walking? And that you don't necessarily have to, if Monday, Wednesday, Friday doesn't work with your schedule, that's fine. But at the beginning of the week, Sunday, or whatever the beginning of your week is, go ahead and plan those 3 days and put it in your calendar. That's what I do with my workouts because my schedule always changes. So every Sunday I look at my calendar and I plan and I put it in my calendar which days I'm working out. How long? So that can be, I put weeks, I'm going to come back to that one. That can be how many hours, what the distance is, how many minutes. So if it's like a mile walk is a good measurement for you, then you can make that your goal for a mile every day, or however many days you're going to walk. But if it makes more sense in your brain to say, I'm going to walk for 20 minutes or 1 hour, then you set that goal. And so now I'm going to circle back to that week, because this is something Johanna would notice. When we work with a big goal, we want to break it down into little steps. So we're going to make a small commitment for a period of weeks. So for example, when I work with my clients on weight loss, we go into phases. So we're going to do a weight loss phase for, say, 8 weeks. And at the end of those 8 weeks, we're going to go into maintenance. That's what we've done with Johanna. Now she's going back into a cut to lose some more weight, but we're defining that how many weeks, so that it doesn't become this thing that you can put off. And I'll talk about why that is also important. And then you also want to break down the action steps, and you can make a list. I find lists really useful, and I think that writing things down makes it very concrete. So if you're walking, what do your walking shoes look like? What are you wearing? Are you going to use a headset? Are you going to walk with a buddy? If you're listening to a headset, what's the playlist? What's the podcast? The more specific that you can get, the better off you're going to be. It's like laying out your clothes the day before the first day of school, because it's one less thing for you to think of when you're up and getting ready. So I want to travel more. That's a very vague goal. Becomes I will set aside $25 a week by eliminating my daily Starbucks for the next 6 months and use it for a weekend hotel stay in Mount Pleasant, South Carolina. And that was a personal goal of mine because I did the Cooper River 10K last year and I needed to save money for a hotel room. So I backtracked. I looked up the hotel room. I knew how much it cost and I backtracked how I would save that money. I will read more, which is a great resolution, but it's very general. Becomes I will read 2 books a month from Oprah's book club list using my library card instead of watching TV after dinner. So I've defined the what, I've defined the when, I have defined how I'm going to make that happen. If you want to read more, maybe you don't have like that extra money to buy books every week or every month. So using a library card, but whatever it is, you have defined each little step and answered the what, where, and when, and how long. All right, so tip number 2 is make attainable goals. And you guys, again, you're welcome to pop in anytime that you have a comment or a question. So tip number 2, make attainable goals. Slow and steady habit change may not be sexy, but it's a lot more effective than the I want it all and I want it now mentality. And we live in a world of instant gratification. So from the TV shows where we see things change in an instant to the ads, the reels that we see. I was watching one just a minute ago and it was an ad for this cooking thing and they popped the rolls in the pan and then they popped the cream cheese and then all of a sudden they were baked. So like it looks like you don't see all of the steps that go in between. So it makes it look like it can happen really quick. If you have a lot of bad habits today, the last thing you need to do is remodel your entire life overnight. So if you want to lose weight, stop with the crash diets and excessive exercise plans and slow your roll at the gym. This is something, I'm sorry, I've got a hair in my eye. There we go. This is something I see a lot with people who come to me when they want to get in shape. If they're really they're maybe haven't worked out in a while, or just really out of shape. They're going to work out with me on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and then they're going to go do a cycle class on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And Saturdays, they're going to run 3 miles. And then on Sundays, they're going to do hot yoga. And that's just like way too much to go from 0 to all of that in one lump, because what happens is they end up hurting themselves or burning out, or it's just too much to change all at once. You do not need to overhaul yourself overnight. I see this with diets too. People like overhaul everything. They want the meal plan because they want to change everything that they eat. Slow and steady wins the race, I promise. Instead of following a super restrictive plan that bans anything fun, add one positive habit per week. For example, you could start with something easy like drinking more water during your first week. So that's one tactic that I find works really well, is instead of thinking about what we're going to take out of your diet, we think about adding in healthy habits. So the next week you could move into eating 3 fruits and vegetables a day. And then the next week you could aim to add a fistful of protein at every meal. Take an honest inventory of where you are now, what you're willing to change at this moment, and how much time and energy you can invest, and what resources you have. If you're currently not exercising, Couch to 5K program is a much better fit than planning to run a half marathon. So there's no sense in setting a goal that you have no intention of following through. That's called a wish or a dream. It may not even be a wish or dream. For example, someone who wants to quit smoking, if you're smoking a pack a day, take honest inventory right now, today. Don't think about tomorrow. You're not starting tomorrow. When you decide, you're starting right now. Are you willing to quit smoking entirely right now? And if that answer is no, you have made a goal that's not attainable. It's too high. So lower your bar just a little bit and make it something that you can work on right now. Make your goal relative to your current reality, because you can always build. Get support. So lots of different ways that we can get support. You find a buddy with a similar goal. Join a Facebook group. There are lots of local groups that have similar interests, or you can listen to podcasts. If your goal is something that maybe you don't want to talk about with somebody, or you are just wanting to work on it yourself, you can write in a journal. That's a great way to support. You can use an app like the Calm app, or set reminders on your phone. Noom is also a good one for diet. Brag about it. Post on social media, maintain a blog, share progress and learned experiences. We'll talk more about that, sharing that progress and why that matters. There is nothing wrong with sharing your goals and your successes on social media. I know some people are a little bit hesitant to do that, but I'm a big fan of loving on yourself. And then, of course, you can always hire a coach. All right, so tracking your progress. Studies show that frequently monitoring progress towards goals increases your chance of success. Your chances of success are even more likely if you report your progress publicly or physically record it. So that's where we're talking about bragging on social media. It is not just to brag, not just to make yourself feel good, but increases your chances if you're reporting your progress. The other thing that I like to remind people about is these habit trackers that I love so much. And there's a little picture on the screen. If you don't know what a habit tracker is, I imagine both of you probably do, but if you, anyone watching the recording, if you're not sure what that habit tracker is, it's just little squares and you mark off, it's like a sticker chart, like when we were back in elementary school. So, and the beauty of tracking your progress on a habit tracker is not just that you can look back and see, when you were good and when you were bad. It is tied to your brain chemistry. So when you give yourself that little check that you completed the task, your brain releases those feel-good hormones. And when you get those feel-good hormones, your brain starts to think, oh, that's a good thing that I just did. I should do that some more. So say I'm trying to drink more water. Every time I check that off, I'm teaching my brain, this is a good thing that I just did. Let's do more of it. So like I said, use a habit tracker, put pen to paper. Don't just keep track up here. Break down your goal into smaller milestones. So if we have a goal to drink 60 ounces of water a day, then you want to break that down into how many 20-ounce jugs am I drinking throughout the day. Set a reward system that does not conflict with your goal. If your goal is weight loss and you want to reward yourself after you have lost 5 pounds, do not go eat a hamburger and a milkshake. Do something that supports your new idea of where you want to be, and move your goalpost often. So let's bounce back to that week time period. So when you get to the end of that time period of your 6 weeks or your 8 weeks or however long you committed to, assess your progress because you've been tracking it. And then you can look back and say, what I've been doing, has it been working or not working? Tracking your progress is a reflection of your process, not your success. If your progress doesn't add up, then you just need to reassess your approach before giving up. So maybe you made that goal too high, or it's not attainable. So we can move that goalpost back. If what you're doing is too easy, you can always set that goalpost a little bit further. And be patient with yourself. I love this picture because I just feel like him so many times. You might fail a lot, and that is okay. Failure is how we learn, and it's how we grow. Every mistake is a chance to get curious and strategize for next time. Give yourself grace when you make a mistake and move quickly to the next step forward. Don't immediately give up when things are imperfect. Change takes practice. And this is something I talk about in my nutrition coaching. Practice means missing your target a time or two. So if you are a basketball player and you want to get better at free throws, you practice shooting free throws. Now, that does not mean that you're going to hit every free throw every time. It means you're going to miss a lot, but you're going to keep trying until you get better. So this is the same thing when we change, when we are making changes, which is what setting new goals is. You're changing your life. You're going to mess up and you're going to miss that goal, and that's okay. That does not mean that you are a failure. That means you're practicing and you just need more practice. So keep trying. Change takes time. I want you to imagine a roll of paper towels, a full, like, new one, and we're going to pull off that first sheet. Can you tell a difference between that roll of paper towels and a completely full roll? No. If you pull up a second sheet, can you tell the difference then? No. If you keep pulling off sheets, one sheet at a time, what point will you be able to look at one roll of paper towels and the one that, like a full one, and the one that you're pulling one sheet off at a time? At what point will you be able to see that they're different? It takes time. And you can't really say exactly how many sheets, can you? When I did my lunch and learn, some guy in the back was like, well, is it Bounty or is it the dollar store brand? It's pretty funny. All right, so we are going to circle back to these resolutions matter. And forgive me, please, because I have my notes down here in front of me. So I'm going to be looking down a little bit. But before I go into it, did you guys have any thoughts about these? Any like initial gut reactions about these words, or why resolutions matter to you?
Because as you always say, it's progress, not perfection. And it's like, try the best option you have in that moment.
Yeah, I get a lot from progress. I feel like I always need to be, I feel better about myself when I'm moving forward. All right, so I'm going to read these 4 resolutions matter. And these are the 4 reasons that I came up with. There's lots of different reasons why resolutions might matter to you, and any and all of them are valid. So number 1 is intention. Being honest with yourself about your current condition and how far you need to go is key to improvement. Being intentional about how you want to grow and develop will help you achieve results. This intentionality will also contribute to your happiness and fulfillment because it gives you a purpose. So like you were just saying, progress for me gives me a purpose. When you're moving forward with a clear direction, you put stock into your emotional and mental health. So that's how we fill ourselves up, by moving forward with clear direction. Hope and engagement. Making New Year's resolution is hopeful and optimistic. And remember that those young people who are hopeful about next year, like, we want to be those young people. So being hopeful is, it keeps you youthful, in my opinion. You expect things to get better for you and for your work life and the people around you. This positive view of the future, in turn, tends to motivate action. If you don't believe tomorrow can be better, you're unlikely to take steps to improve yourself or your community. So optimism is doubly beneficial. It contributes to your own mental health, keeping us useful, but it's also a ripple effect to those around you. So think about that trend of paying for the guy behind you, or the guy behind you in the Starbucks line. I had to think about the line and how that works. And then in turn, you brighten their day, they brighten somebody else's day. So being optimistic and imagining that the world can be better leads to that actually happening. So number 3 is responsibility. Making New Year's resolutions has some impact on others, even if they're about individual self-improvement. They affect families, friends, colleagues, and communities. Your resolution to get healthy will keep you around longer for your family and friends. New Year's resolutions are a terrific way to focus on yourself, but also consider your broader responsibility and to expand and multiply your positive effect on others. No effort goes unnoticed. Puff. Happy puppy. So we all have a responsibility to others. There are very few people in this world who can honestly say, I am the only person in my life who I am responsible for. And that responsibility it's important for us to continue to move forward so that we can enact that ripple effect. And then finally, the last one, and this is the last little bit I've got here, when inspiration. So when you seek to be better, do better, and contribute more fully, you tend to inspire others as well. The primary way people learn is through experiencing the behaviors of others. So if you're a parent, you know that your kids act like you, whether you want to admit it or not. The first time that child says something funky that you realize is something that you say all the time, they pick up on everything you say and do. Even if you're not consciously aware of it, people pick up on choices and cues from others constantly. When you focus on the future and focus on improvement, you inspire others around you. So big or small, whether you think it's impactful or not, my challenge is that if you've not made a New Year's resolution, that you take about 15 minutes and do a little self-assessment and set some goals and go back and use those 5 strategies, because resolutions matter for intention, hope and engagement, responsibility, and your inspiration. That's all I've got. So Jolynn, did you have any thoughts that you want to share? Do you have any questions before we sign off?
I keep hitting my video thing. I'm sorry. I was trying to unmute myself.
That's okay. I was just
time.
trying to be quick so that we could get dinner on the table.
Well, sorry. The child doing homework, drum practice, the dog eating everything, and then trying to get dinner done.
Yeah.
That was so good, Whitney. And
Thank you.
that's like not, I mean, as you well know, it's not just for fitness. I was thinking of my team the whole time, like how this is so good for as we're goal setting for the year, and encouraging them to take small steps and like really look at what they've been doing. You could totally do this for any like organization or any
absolutely. Yeah. This is something that can work for, I mean, whether your goal is health and fitness or whether it's in any of those things that were on that list or not on that list.
Have you read, I'm reading it right now, Failing Forward by John Maxwell?
I'm not.
It's really good. And it's all about how successful people fail. They are not afraid of failure because it's a way to learn and to test out new things, and that it's actually quite empowering.
I'm gonna write that down. Failing Forward. I feel like that's what my last, like maybe 8 years has been, 10 years. Failing forward. Just make it work.
Exactly. Now you should be super proud. This was great. I really liked it.
Thank you so much for being here. I'm recording this. Okay. So I will send you a copy, and you are more than welcome to share this with your team or anyone else who you think benefit from it.
Thank you. That's amazing.
Absolutely.
Are you doing more workshops? Like, do you think will you branch? Because you're onto something here. I mean, clearly you know your fitness, but do you think you'll do something